So I'm just going to do a quick once-over behind the scenes of how I made this video. Oh, it's not quite the right size. Hang on. It's all hand-drawn and it's all stuff from my sketchbook, which is just here, actually. This one here. All hand-drawn in this book. So, like, yeah, there's your balloons, etc. And I scanned it on a high-res scanner and then cut it all together using Blender. I also had a couple of failed attempts, you might say, a couple of experiments at the start as well, using grease pencil and then trying to mix it with this kind of hand-drawn paper texture, but I just decided that it should all be hand-drawn, so I'll just go through it. So the first attempt was this. It was using grease pencil, and I'll just turn the sound off because we don't need to hear that. I just drawn this eyeball and these brain kind of things, and yeah, I was just testing to see if I could have the texture of what was being applied to the pen and this kind of scanned ink texture, if I could have them moving around and have them driven by the audio. And so there's the driver for the location, and it actually has the vocals being sung by this mouth. Blah, 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 in here. And because I didn't get the stems for the song, I actually recorded myself singing. And of course, no one will ever hear it, but I put it into Blender as a driver, and then I stuck it out through the compositor. And so this was the original grease pencil kind of rough draft idea. Pretty, yeah, you could say convoluted. I don't know. Just applying lots of modifiers and a little bit of the what's called ambient, no, not ambient occlusion. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but it's an effect where you end up with this kind of stuff around the edges. Yeah, so that was by putting it through the compositor to give it a little bit of that the misregistration of the light as if it was being projected through a lens or shot through a lens. We could probably take a look at it, this composite. Yeah, that was it. That was all that was going on with that composite. Sticking it through here. Yeah. What is that called? It's the end of the day and I'm tired. Yeah, so this was the first proper test where I'd just drawn one page in my book of eyes, and I wasn't sure if it would work lining up all the backgrounds and all the eyes and kind of alternating between having the checkers line up and the eyes line up. So actually there was another test before that, which was these. This was just a page from my sketchbook. I drew them while I was waiting for some people, and then I redrew it with numbering, but I didn't end up getting that to work in the finished thing. I think I've got a test of that in here somewhere too. Maybe not. Yeah, so I did another grease pencil test in here. So this one worked out even worse, I think. And that was taking an illustration that was done by a Guyanan artist for the album art for the band. And then this was me attempting to try mixing grease pencil with the actual scan paper. But I didn't like how it looked, so it could go. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's the first test with the boxes, the box extrusions as I called them. And throughout the video, it's subtle, but the sizes of the boxes grow and shrink. Like it zooms in on bits and zooms out. So you get a bit of variation in the resolution and more kind of what's the word? Zoomed in on the texture. That's my driver for the vocals. Yeah. So yeah, the blank page was a starting point. I think this is at a slightly different frame rate to test it out, but I ended up going with 10 frames a second because it wasn't too fast and it wasn't too slow. But yeah, let me show you all of them, all the images together. This is the whole thing. These are all the pages from my sketchbook that I ended up using. So it's kind of maybe less than you think. So here's the intro section, which was actually one of the last things I did. All done with felt tip pens, and actually drew this on the back of one of the pages. I must be missing one page because there's the other side of that page that I ended up using, I think. Yeah, so this is it in the order of the song. So we've got the title appearing, and then the title of the song, and then these bits here. Yeah, and then the parts that cue up to the lyrics about the home, the smile, the chair, and then the whole section of the chorus is just this page, and I was moving around different sections of it, and then the lip sync for the balloon, where I did a painstaking lip sync, getting the mouths right. And I did multiples of the mouths if you look. So like there's kind of 6 versions of, him just with his mouth closed, or 6 of them doing the kind of sound. Oh no, actually those are identical. Huh. Well, you have to take my word for it that there were more. Yeah, and then there's that's the last section, so that was that one loop of the eyes that appear at the end. This must be the 5 frame a second version, which is far too slow. But effective. Yeah, so the way that I got it all to fit together was, if you imagine this big white section here as the outside of the page, I just set keyframes with stepped interpolation, and then frame by frame move them around. Pretty straightforward. So from here, move to the next frame, to the next. So we've got this, and I was constantly putting little grids to help line things up. And with some of them it was by overlaying single moments of the scan, and then like that one there, and then trying to get them to line up nicely. Yeah, and then other than that, just setting keyframes for the position of these things, and then getting the order just right, and trying to work it out in sections basically. So See, there's quite a few different sections. Oh boy. I don't use a lot of markers, but I did for the lip sync here. So if you look closely, I've got markers for the lip syncing. So I was like very carefully scrubbing through here and trying to get the singing to line up just right. And then the face shrinks, the thing grows, and then you got your grid. I added a couple of adjustment layers for getting like a bit of extra saturation, adjusting hues a little bit. Sometimes the paper didn't quite line up enough. Like, I liked that there was a bit of variation, but I didn't want them to be too jarring when they transitioned. So you're like, look, this is quite different, but it's still kind of nice. Like, it's not too jarring, the difference. And it marks the transition nicely. But yeah, this whole section here, that's just one page. And the thing I was most proud of with this section here is that there was very much a method to the way that I lined all these up. Like, look at these frames here. We've got the yellow ones lining up for that bit. Then it switches to a blue one. And we've kind of got these all these single eyes here for the lyric. He says, "I'm looking at you." And so those eyes are lining up. And then when he says, "I'm looking at you again," I think there's harmonies from memory. And so I've got more eyes. Then they disappear. A balloon. Yeah, well, some of these I have added a driver. No, not a driver. A modifier. So I got a cycle here for him spinning. So he could just spin forever. And these here on the graph, it's just the X and Y coordinates of where where the bit of paper is in relation to what's essentially our camera. So yeah, getting everything to kind of line up nicely, that was the time-consuming bit. And hand drawing everything and not trying to be too slick about it, because the kind of roughness of it is very much part of the hand-drawn kind of tactile vibe of the whole thing. So that's pretty much it. That kind of wraps her all up. I didn't try not to overthink it too much. I think if I'd spent a little more time doing this face thing, it could have been a little more dynamic. Like, I was hoping that it would be like, while you're watching this, you could follow the green one moving around and then like switch your focus to another one moving around. But you kind of can. Turn that off. Yeah, it seems a lot more random than what I was kind of hoping for, but that's okay. Like, we've got the nose going up and down. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Oh, another thing I liked was I also used the backs of the pages too, where the felt was kind of bleeding through. So if you look here, this transition for where this fades is actually the back of the page. Yeah. So when he appears, it's a nice little transition for the mouth there to not have all this colourful stuff appear all at once. Chromatic aberration. That was the word I was looking for. Chromatic aberration. Yeah, if you want to make chromatic aberration, this is the secret sauce for that. Anyway, that's my quick 15-minute breakdown of Glass Eye Contact by Bunchy's Big Score from Dunedin, my hometown. Hope you enjoyed that, and yeah, if you feel inspired, please send me your animations. I'd love to watch them. I felt very inspired after going to Miles Davitt's movie screening night, and he showed a bunch of hand-drawn animations, and I was like, oof, that's what my next music video has to be. But yeah, quite a bit of work went into that, and I think it shows. Anyway, thank you, and if you want Blender lessons, hit me up. I do them for cash, and some people get jobs out of it.